What's up, Buttercup? Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me on this AuthorTube video explaining the bare bones writing method. Now, I was struggling with Murderous Fairies, which is the second book in the Midnight Detective Agency book series, which is an urban fantasy mystery, if you couldn't tell from the subtitle of the series that I just said. And I forget. I'm so sorry. Please leave your name and number. No, not your name and number. Please leave your comment down below, because I forget your name, of who told me about the bare bones method. I can't think of your name. I'm so sorry. But I looked it up, and the two articles talking in depth about the bare bones writing method is behind a paywall. And I wasn't particularly interested in doing that. And then I looked it up on YouTube as well, and they're really not any comprehensive or in-depth anything that talks about the bare bones writing methods. But this method saved me and I will continue to write the bare bones method for the foreseeable future. So I wanted to come here today to have a comprehensive video about this writing method. Definition of the bare bones writing method is you tell your story with just the bones, as in the basic framework of your story and your plot. Think of it as a skeleton. You're putting together the skeleton story in your first draft, just your first draft. And then in later drafts, you add the meat, and then you create a human, right? The meat of your story for the first draft isn't important. And I know that's going to scare a lot of people, but for this method, it is not important, because you're just trying to get the basic plot and story out. Also, the character arcs and so on down. Just write that down so you have the basics. We're looking for really just the basics. And when you get those basics down, the skeleton, then you can add the meat to it in the second or third draft. There's no word count goal. There's no how many chapters can I get goal. There is no I need to hit 2,000 words in each chapter goal. Nothing. No, it's just the basics. We're going back to the basics. You will focus on that stuff in draft 2 and onwards. Like I said, you're going to add some detail, but not so much that you're taking hours up out of your day or your writing schedule to describe scenery, world building, heavily describing action scenes, and so on. That's considered the meat instead of the bare bones. If you are stuck on something, anything, for more than 30 minutes, you need to move on. And I would even say if you're stuck on something for 10 minutes, move on. You can even, and I've seen this happen before, it's not really, I don't think it's a bare bones method, it's just like getting the first draft done, where you are you're stuck on this, let's say, banter between a love interest and your first draft, and you just can't get it, right? You can't get it. So what a lot of people will do is they put in brackets right in the banter scene in draft 2, and then they move on. That is the vibe of the bare bones writing method. You need to just get down what you absolutely need for this first draft, and then you add to it. And another example of that is you have a big fight scene, but you're struggling to describe it in detail. That means you need to move on with your writing and come back to it and add the details of movement and maybe what type of sword or pistols or the details. We're talking about the details later on. And I know this could be very scary or anxiety inducing, because we have in our minds as writers, especially online, it's like you need to hit a word count goal. You need to have X amount of chapters in your manuscript. You need. Well, for this particular writing method, all you need is the basics, and then you can add to it. And that's it. I mean, the basics to the bare bones writing technique is pretty what's another word? Minimal. I'm trying not to use words over and over again, but yeah, minimal. We're going for like a minimalist type of writing, and it might not work for you, but if you're struggling, if you're getting frustrated or angry, I suggest trying out this technique first. Do not talk or mention or think about how many chapters are in your manuscript. Don't even think about word count. Don't even check it. Don't. And just write. What is absolutely necessary is the skeleton. That's the bare bones. And that's the first draft. And then we move on to second, third draft, however you write. Maybe you're at draft 8 and you're finally done. That's okay as well. But just for the first draft, minimal. Get what you need to get on that page so you can then work with an actual finished manuscript and then add to it and just refine it and create a person, if you might like to say, out of that skeleton. Thank you so much for watching my mini guide on the bare bones writing technique. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, you want me to elaborate or give you more examples, leave those comments down below and I will be sure to get in contact in the comments and help you as much as I can. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great writing day. Bye!